G'day, James Paver here from Supercars.com. We're on the eve of the Boost Mobile Gold Coast 500. We've picked up a new Bathurst winner in Todd Hazelwood. How are you going, mate?
I'm going fantastic. We're here in the sun of Gold Coast and yeah, absolutely loving life. Thank you.
So we're going to check out this track. Let's have a crack. So Toddy, the first chicane, one of the most important corners of the circuit, and the first corner of the circuit. What makes this such a hard start to the lap?
Well, first of all, it's a very fast approach coming into turn one. It's actually one of the trickiest braking zones on this Gold Coast circuit in particular. We come in a fast approach in top gear, so approaching sixth gear and trying to get it down through the gears. The car moves around a lot, and one of the hardest things with a supercar is trying to brake and turn at the same time. So going around the wall, braking into turn one here. So obviously we're trying to maximize this corner here for the starters. We're trying to utilize all the track available, and we're actually trying to thanks, JC. We're trying to straight line this section, trying to get the car across this whole curb. And throughout the stages of the race, you're going to see cars hitting this rubber conveyor belt. Now, it has got a lot of movement. This is actually the only tyre bundle that we have in the chicane throughout the whole circuit. But what it can do is damage the front splitter of the car. So as a driver, when you're trying to maximise this corner entry and trying to utilise all the track, it is very easy to hit this tyre bundle here, especially when you're parked up behind someone and you lose your line of sight whereabouts you are on the track. And that's probably one of the trickiest parts about the Gold Coast circuit. So for here, you hit this curb up on two wheels, you go through turn two, up on two wheels again, and as you can see, there's actually a fair bit of fall. The track runs away and it basically sucks the car into the wall at turn three. So this part here is so hard to get right and very, very easy to get wrong, and that wall does not move and it's punishing.
All right, let's head down to turn four. All right, Toddy, we're down here at turn four, one of the key overtaking spots of the whole circuit. But what makes this such an important corner?
Yeah, turn four is really interesting for a lot of reasons actually, and as you mentioned, one of the best passing opportunities on the circuit. As we come out of the turn 1, 2, 3 chicane, it's all about trying to get it back down two gears, you're braking hard, and you want a car that's really sharp in the front here. And some drivers either use second gear or they might actually go down another gear down into first. So depending on what the strengths of your car is, if you've got lacking a little bit of rotation, not turning enough, you might use first gear, get a bit more weight on the front of the car, and then try and get that rotation done. But as we see here, it is very tight, and trying to get the power down is very tricky. So this is one of the areas of the track where it really punishes the rear tyre. So you really do have to focus on getting that power down nicely. You can easily flare the tyre up, and as you can see, the crown in the road as well. So it dips away here, but as you get through the exit, it actually drops away and actually sucks you into the wall. So it's very easy to get loose. So standing here right now, we can actually see just how coarse this track is. So a lot of exposed aggregate tears the tyre up, and this is a street circuit, keeping in mind. So everyday road users are using this street circuit that we're racing on this weekend. So the surface is looking pretty rough, and when it comes to tyre life, it's going to be punishing, and this is a hot spot for action. So expect a lot of carnage here this weekend.
Todd, we talk about carnage, it's quite blind, the walls there. We've seen carnage last year as well. If you're coming around here pretty quick, there's nowhere to go sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And what we've seen here in the past, particularly the opening laps, we see drivers nose to tail, essentially running into each other. So if there's an incident either in the middle of the corner or more even worse so on the exit, the drivers can't see. So you're literally coming around here looking from concrete wall to concrete wall, and next thing you know, you're in an incident, which is far from ideal.
Well, sun, sand, supercars, but I'm going to throw two more S's in there, Todd. Sensors and sausage curbs. We're at the Main Beach chicane, one of the most spectacular parts of any racetrack anywhere in the world, but I want you to talk us through this part of the track here. It's very unique to this circuit. We've got the sensor line, which is the loop here, and also the sausage curb. So these things catch you out, don't they?
Yeah, and this is arguably the toughest part of the racetrack. It takes massive commitment to be fast through this section. It's a really fast approach. Some drivers might go back 2 or 3 gears depending on how they're feeling and how they're comfortable. But yeah, this is our visual here from a adjudication point of view. So they actually use this fluoro line to see if the drivers essentially are taking the piss. You know, we want to make sure that we're maximizing this curb usage here. So we cannot afford to have 2 wheels on this curb from the inside point of view. So if you've got 2 wheels here, you're going to be over that sensor line. So it's all about maximizing it here, because essentially you want to straight line this section. So over the sausage curb here, so over to the right, and the car gets a huge amount of flight when we hit these curbs. So keep in mind, these are filled with concrete, and when you're hitting these at over 150 kilometers an hour, literally pops the car up on 2 wheels, and you actually lose sight of where the next curb is. So we're doing that for 4 sequences. We go from right, left again, and in the fastest part of the exit of the chicane, sliding the car right up against the concrete wall. So throughout this section of the circuit, as a driver, you certainly feel alive. But in a racing, it's really tricky to get right because when you're parked up behind someone, it's really hard to maximize this section. And you generally see drivers using too much curb because they can't visually see where the curb is. So this is actually one of the trickiest sections to get right around this Gold Coast circuit.
Well, Toddy, we're talking overtaking zones at this place. It's pretty hard to pass, but this is a pretty key one. But if you get it wrong, what happens?
Yeah, exactly. We're actually standing right on the exit of the track now. So behind the camera here is our escape road. So we often see guys either trying to take a lunge or they've broken too deep and they end up the escape road, having to do a flick spin, get back out on the track. So as you mentioned, it is one of the prime opportunities to make a pass, but it also is high risk because traditionally coming in here, if you actually look at the camber in the road, I know there's some cars on the track at the moment, but there is a camber, falls to the left and falls to the right. And when you're trying to pull the thing up, it moves around a lot under brakes. So you see the rear of the car squirming around, and hence why we see people finding it really easy to lock a front brake. So whether that be a right front or a left front, it's very hard to pull the things up around here. So trying to execute the pass is one thing. Trying to get it through this left-hander is another. And I've come unstuck here in the past before trying to execute a pass, and it's quite messy. I think I turned Will Brown around and got the track blocked there. So it's a lot easier said than done. It's certainly a hot spot to watch this weekend.
Todd, last corner of the track, and the straight's not really a straight, but any sort of advantage you get through here can make a hell of a difference down there, can't it?
Yeah, exactly right. And we're standing on what is the apex of the final corner, and it's actually a really tricky approach as well. So we actually carry a fair bit of speed here. Back to second gear is really easy to pinch a brake because, again, you're trying to brake and turn the car at the same time, trying to wash off a lot of speed, and you're literally going from mirror to mirror against the concrete walls, trying to maximize the usage of the circuit. So when we get to this part, we can see we can actually utilize a lot of this curb. So you essentially want to get the whole car over the curb. Sometimes you actually use this little the tire bundle here is a bit of a reference of knowing where the car is because it's actually really hard to see at that part of the circuit. So as you mentioned, getting out of this corner onto the front straight cleanly is easier said than done. You really need a good car to be able to hook up that right rear tire, get the power down nicely. And sometimes you can actually get a little bit of run. If you see a car that's a little bit loose, you can actually try and sneak up on the inside of the exit of this last corner. So try and get into a run. And if you can sort of get alongside their rear bumper, you can actually get into like their side draft. So actually literally the car will then suck itself up right up next to the side of it. And then try and hang tough going around what we call this front straight, which is actually a fast right-handed curved corner. So trying to stay on the left side and be on the inside for turn one. That's a really tough ask, but we've seen drivers do it before, so this can create a bit of a hotspot for passing going towards turn one as well.
Well, if two cars run side by side on Saturday and Sunday, we're pretty happy to be here. Todd, thanks for your help, mate.
My pleasure, and hope you enjoyed the track walk here for the Boost Mobile Gold Coast 500. Cheers.